Hello everyone and welcome to the Anime Zillia, and today we'll be talking about We Never Learn, episode 6 of season 2. Now this episode overall was really enjoyable. I found it super fun, it was energetic, lively, the comedy was full on throughout and it made me laugh. It seriously was a great episode, and if you're feeling down or you want to have a good old laugh, I would highly recommend this episode. As well as the fact is, if you're a fan of Miss Kirisu, you're going to love it, because as you can see in the background here, there's tons of her. And this episode primarily focuses on Mrs. Kirisu herself. I mean, season 2 pretty much has been. It's been so, no surprise there. However, we actually get introduced, well, we don't get introduced. We see these kids, and these are obviously Yuiga's siblings, and they are absolutely adorable in this episode. They're so lively, so full of fun, and so mischievous that they cause a lot of the problems in the first half, but it just puts a smile on your face. Like these kids, they actually go up to Miss Kirisu when they first see her and go, "Wow, you're so pretty. You're like someone you see on TV. Can you, will you marry my brother?" And then Kirisu's reaction was just, that reaction from just that question. It's obviously very fitting for Kirisu's character, but at the same time, it's still comedic value. These kids steal clothes from Miss Kirisu because they like her so much. The younger one actually runs into the bath and causes Miss Kirisu to slip over. And they're just so mischievous and innocent that you just kind of have to give them a pass. So I really did like that. We get some small talk between Miss Kirisu and Koinami. And I actually did like this part of the episode simply because it shows that Miss Kirisu is opening up a little bit. Like, she hasn't opened the door fully, but she's slowly letting the door open. Because in this scene, they're talking about Yuiga, and she's like, "Oh yes, I agree, he helps people way too much. But he's so kind and honest, and I'm actually starting to see improvement in the girls." And I actually do like that. It's nice to see that Miss Kirisu is actually this kind-hearted, caring teacher, where on the outside, she tries to come off as this harsh, cruel, cold-hearted teacher. But inside, she's just soft and wants everyone to kind of progress and live a good life. Next, we got to talk about Yuiga and his luck. Yuiga is always lucky when it comes to the females, and this episode is no exception. He basically has to carry Miss Kirisu out because everyone in this hot spot, this spa that they're in, is either old or female, and apparently females can't lift up other females because they're too weak. That's Koinami saying that, not me. There are plenty of females that are much stronger than I am, so I'm definitely not making that statement. But the other thing I really did like about this spa scene is actually Koinami herself. Now, before I get into that reason, I want to say I haven't seen her wear this jacket before and this outfit, but I actually really do like it. I think it suits her character quite nicely. But throughout this entire first half, Koinami Sensei was pretty funny and brilliant in my opinion. She made me laugh a lot because throughout this entire part, she was just being so mischievous and so playful. She doesn't really get that much of a pass because she's not as innocent as, say, like the younger kids. But she's always like, well, Yuiga's getting told off, and the situation isn't how Miss Kirisu is interpreting it. Maybe I should tell her. But on second thoughts, this is kind of funny, so I want to see how it plays out. So she's kind of manipulating things and making it work in her favour so she can have a good laugh. And, altogether that just makes us have a good time. So, for Azumi's character in this episode, I actually did like it, and I found it to be very kind of fitting inside this scenario. If it was just Yuiga and Miss Kirisu, it wouldn't really make sense. I'm glad they put this character in instead of, say, Furuhashi or Urika, because it would just been too awkward, especially if it was Rizu as well. The tension between those four characters, Kirisu, Furuhashi, Rizu, and Tokomoko, they are all kind of very on a knife's edge. They're all very antsy around each other. It's very high tensions. So the fact they had Koinami come in and kind of cheer up and lighten up the mood, I thought was a good choice. Next, we get to the second part. And the second part, the comedy still continues, but with my point saying about there being high tension, certainly gets delivered here. The only way I can describe the second part of this episode is an interview from hell. Just look at these reactions. Yeah, Miss Kirisu being the interviewer. So basically, bit of context. They're practicing mock interviews for their chosen university. And basically, Miss Kirisu is the interviewer, and Furuhashi, Rizu, and Yuiga has to basically answer the questions that she has. And these questions are pretty brutal. Even Kirisu herself admits that. And there was a good message at the end of this episode that I really did enjoy, and I will talk about it in just a second. So, the majority of this second half, again, was a follow-on from the comedy aspect. There was lots of laughing, there was lots of things, because Furuhashi and Rizu were like, yes, we're going to do these interviews, because the teacher doing it is such a nice teacher. It's not Kirisu, so you don't have to worry. And then it's like, oh, well, she was sick, so it is Kirisu. Sorry, guys. And, yeah, their reactions are understandable, considering, like, the death stares and the way they do things. But at the same time, we do get to see more of Kirisu opening up as she starts to interview Yuiga. And she's basically helping him out, like, she wants him to develop and she wants him to do well. So she's like, right, you need to sit up straight, posture, you got to have your back slightly towards the back of the seat, but not slouching. And she's like sort of holding the ruler, pointing it everywhere. She's like, look at me when you're interviewing. And looking at an interviewer is a good idea. There are some good tips that Ms. Kirisu are actually giving you, which you can apply to the real world. And that would actually work if it wasn't for Yuiga's mind. Oh, that's a different image. This one. If it wasn't for Yuiga's mind. Yuiga is like using the classic technique that if you have a big meeting or a big audience you're talking to, imagine a crowd naked and you'll be fine. You won't be nervous. So he tries to do that, but he tries to imagine Miss Kirisu in her tracksuit, because that will make him feel more comfortable. And these are the results. Yeah. He's like, brain, what are you doing? Why are you giving me all of these images to kind of think of? I'm trying to think of her in her tracksuit, and even the one that you see on the bottom column in the middle, the sort of Chinese dress, he's like, I haven't seen her in that dress. So how am I imagining that? And honestly, it was pretty good, and it just kind of like flipped over and backfired on the classic technique of imagining your interviewer in something that makes you feel comfortable. Now, the point I want to get to that basically has the hidden message is actually what Miss Kirisu tells Yuiga. She asks him, what are your skills? Which is a very horrible question, because most adults and most people don't actually know their own skills. It takes someone else to tell us and explain to us why we have the skills that they believe we have. Like, honestly, if you guys were to tell me that I've got a certain skill, I would believe you more than that, more than myself. If someone says to me, oh, are you talented at making videos, or, well, don't answer that question. Don't answer that. But it's like, if you're like, say, are you good at sports or cooking? I'll say, I'm okay. I wouldn't say I'm the best. And then someone actually tried my cooking and said, what do you mean? You're absolutely amazing. I'd be like, thank you. So Yuiga's like, oh, well, I don't really know my own skills. I guess I'm good at sewing and this, that, and other. And Kirisu's like, no, that's not good. You need to focus more on what you're going for. So if you're going for a college in astrology, like Furuhashi, you'd have to kind of have your hobbies and your interests and your skills pointed towards that specific goal. And Yuiga's like, right, well, I can't answer this question. I don't know my own skills. And Kirisu's like, look, you do have a lot of skills. You have the ability to help people. You can understand them. And you've done a brilliant job in tutoring Furuhashi and Rizu. Because honestly, I've started to see improvement in their studies when beforehand I actually gave up on them. And that's a skill that you possess. You possess the skill to persist and help other people to develop and to shine. Well, it's something like that. I was paraphrasing. And that's a really nice thing to do. Miss Kirisu opens up so much in this episode that it just makes you want to like her character even more if you don't already. So honestly, my opinion of Kirisu has gone up quite a lot in this episode, and it looks like that we might get some development from Yuiga coming up. So I'll be interested to find out how that turns out, because I want to see our main protagonist develop a bit more, and I think that'll be quite fun to see. So, with all that said and done, I want you guys watching this video, guys and girls, to let me know your thoughts on this episode. What's your favourite outfit that Yuiga imagined Kirisu being in? If I had to say my pick, I'll say the maid's outfit. Don't judge me. Don't judge me. And with that being said, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, hit like. Dislike if you disliked. Subscribe if you're new so you never miss a video from me. And let me know all your thoughts down below. Other than that, I hope you have an amazing day. And I'll be catching you next time. Goodbye for now.